Hey folks, this is Dan Abbott. I teach at Southern Maine Community College, or I did until January 1st when I retired, although I am still teaching part-time. I haven't done many videos lately, but I have been busy rewriting a book that I first published 20 years ago called AutoCAD Secrets Every User Should Know. There's its Amazon page. It did quite well when it was published. It's still in print, oddly enough, but I have been wanting to update it since I wrote it. The fact is, it was written more as a best practices book than as a how to use the current release of AutoCAD, which at the time was 2006. But I haven't been able to convince the existing publisher to update it. But they have been very generous in reverting the copyright back to me, and I have since found another publisher, SDC Publications, you can see on the right, and they have published the book. It came out last month, and I updated it to using 2026, but also adding a couple of key chapters to the book and rewriting all of the content, and also making 150 videos that are only accessible to people who buy the book. So this is the old one, 20 years old, and it is venerable. It's still selling, not very well, but it's selling, and we've used it in classes that I've taught at SMCC and that other people have taught at SMCC now for the past 20 years. In fact, we used it in 3 of our classes. Students all get a copy of it. It's really the only textbook we use, even though it's not technically a textbook. It's more a professional user's guide. So because of that, when I did the rewrite, rather than call it AutoCAD Secrets Every User Should Know, which in some cases confused people into thinking that it was a how-to book for beginners, which it is not. We've made a change in the name of the book. So the Amazon page now is right here, and it's called the AutoCAD Professional's Handbook. And I'm going to open up and show you the content in a little bit, and also just give you a sense of what it covers. But I would like to emphasize my gratitude for SDC, which is primarily a textbook publisher. And by a textbook publisher, I mean the books they publish are marketed to colleges and high schools. They generally come as fairly complete lesson plans, curriculum material for somebody who's teaching a specific course. This book is not that kind of book. It is a reference book for professionals that I think should be used in college level at least, and even some high school level classes, to prepare people to use the software effectively in a professional setting. And SDC went along with that, and they've been very generous in providing support for that. And I am looking forward to seeing how often it does in fact get used. There is a description of what the book involves on the page, and it is currently the number 7 book in AutoCAD books, and it is number 2 in new releases about AutoCAD. And actually, I'd have to say it's number 1, since number 1 is not an AutoCAD book, it's a general CAD book, but I'm just doing that to show off. At any rate, that is the book. So book has only one blurb, and the blurb that book has is on the back cover. That blurb was written by the author of the number 1 book on AutoCAD, Ralph Grabowski, who wrote a very glowing review of the original book 20 years ago and another equally glowing review of this one. I really appreciate that. Ralph is a venerable commentator on all things CAD and has been for many, many years. He is, I think, probably the sharpest and most honest reviewer that you could possibly have for a book of this kind. So I'm going to show you his review to begin with. So here is the back cover. So as someone who's written about AutoCAD for 40 years, I found out things about AutoCAD I never knew by reading this book. Dan Abbott has put his own decades of on-the-job experience into tips that is going to make AutoCAD work so much better in your workplace. It's a much longer review than that, but I think that's probably enough showing off. The point is this book was written for people who work with the software really seriously. You do not want to purchase this book if you don't know already how to use the software. But if you do, this is a book that I think would be very useful to you. I do know that many, many people over the past 20 years have purchased it and put it on their shelves, and I get emails still from people saying that they still take it down and use it. And one of the chapters they are particularly referencing is a chapter called Puzzlers, which are questions that I've gotten from professional users over the years that have nothing to do with glitches in AutoCAD or mistakes of some kind in AutoCAD. They have to do with the way AutoCAD behaves in a way that has puzzled them. So let's take a look at the content of the book. So here's a PDF file of the book itself. And I will repeat that the videos, and I did make 150 videos starting at the beginning of the book and going through. The videos are available only to people who purchase the book. And that's an agreement I had to make, of course, with SDC because it's their content at this point. So none of the videos that I made for the book are going to ever appear on my YouTube channel. So if we take a look at this, let's make it a little bigger. There we go. One thing I did was ask them when they did the cover to make sure that it included some code, because there are 2 chapters, 3 really, on using various kinds of code, AutoLISP primarily, but also batch files and script files in order to do what one of the chapters deals with, which is updating thousands of drawings at a time if you need to update them in exactly the same way. So this is just an indication to people when they look at the book that it is not something that you're going to get into without knowing how to use the software. I deal with standards, how to customize AutoCAD, some things that I think would be effective in terms of workflow, and then there's an automation chapter as well. So if we take a look at the table of contents, I have a chapter called AutoCAD Productivity, which deals with some of the fundamental tools in AutoCAD that I find people often either don't know about or don't use as effectively as they could. So this goes down through, and I start with something called design standards, and that would be something that would apply in any field where you were designing anything. And those design standards are advice that I've been giving for years. I remember one of the first questions I got when I started doing AutoCAD training for people back in 1988. And that is, if we're going to create AutoCAD drawings, and we know there's always a tolerance when we're doing technical drawings, what size do we use when we create the very specific, accurate to 15 decimal places geometry that AutoCAD is capable of? And in mechanical settings, my answer has always been the same as it is now when you're making 3D models, is create everything at maximum material condition. Maximum material condition is the fundamental starting point for many of the mechanical design concepts that get applied in mechanical design. So that's where I would start. But there's also some basic advice on architectural design and other kinds of design as well. AutoCAD Best Practices reviews a number of the kinds of commands and processes that I think people could improve. And then I have this feature review, and the feature review is a review of features that appear in all the releases of AutoCAD, and that in most cases goes right back to, well, certainly to release 14. But at any rate, features that, again, I think sometimes people overlook how to use effectively. I have a section here on how to manage the system, all the various files involved with AutoCAD. Those various files include things like the $$ files, the autosave files that are created with AutoCAD that are inexplicably hidden in a hidden folder by default. And there are tools built into AutoCAD for finding them, but they don't always work. So the whole idea of how to manage the system itself. And then I have a whole section on command aliases. If we take a look at that, external commands and command aliases are pretty straightforward, and they've been around forever. But a lot of people don't use the external commands as effectively as they could, because you can literally create a command in AutoCAD that will leave AutoCAD, go and open up a website or pull up a document for you, or do almost anything outside of AutoCAD that you might want done quickly. And so I have some advice on how to set that up, some advice on how to deal with the AutoCAD PGP file, advice on what to do if you have a reference like an URL that is too long for the AutoCAD PG file, etc. I just jumped back. Let's go back to the table of contents. Okay. The customizing the interface, I have a whole section on the CUI, the customizable user interface. I'm also a big fan of tool palettes, and think that if you're managing people in a setting where they're using CAD, by the way, this book is about AutoCAD, works certainly for AutoCAD LT, particularly now that AutoCAD LT is able to execute AutoLISP programs, but it also could be applied to any of the clones of AutoCAD or most of the clones of AutoCAD. And some of when I say most, the reason I'm saying that is many of the clones of AutoCAD don't have the same customizing tools. Most of them won't deal with AutoLISP programs, although DraftSight is getting better and better at doing that. So whether you're using AutoCAD or some other type of CAD program, there's something in this book that could be very valuable to you. Applying graphic standards is a really general attempt on my part to stop people from doing bad drawings. Ever since CAD was first developed, people have assumed that AutoCAD by default, or SolidWorks, which is the software that I use primarily these days, and the software that most people who have subscribed to my YouTube channel are interested in, I have yet to use a CAD program that out of the box would automatically meet technical graphics standards. And I'm talking about the kinds of standards from a mechanical point of view that are encoded in the ASME, the American Society of Mechanical Engineers, Y14.5 standards for technical drawings. So from the point of view of taking AutoCAD, which is terrible at it out of the box, it's just awful, that what you have to do to meet AutoCAD, to meet standards using AutoCAD, is to set up various kinds of tools like dimension styles correctly, set up your line weights correctly, set up for plotting correctly, and then apply the dimensioning rules that are standard rules in all disciplines, and applying those standard rules as well. So in the process of doing that, I'll show you how to set up and create templates for both metric and imperial drawings, both in architectural, mechanical, as well as civil drawings. I have a whole chapter here on symbols, tables, and fields, which deal with blocks, external references in some detail, and then just dealing with fields and tables in ways that people might not always be familiar with. New chapter in here is annotative entities. It's new because when I first wrote the book, there were no annotative entities. So this is a very in-depth chapter. It comes from presentations I used to make at Autodesk University, which I stopped doing in 2009 when I was unable to go out to Las Vegas for the fall because I was involved as an expert witness in a software trial. And I stopped doing that because once I didn't do it one fall, I really enjoyed being home for Thanksgiving, so I just decided to stop being an AU presenter. But the annotative entities concept was so important from my point of view that I did a number of workshops at AU once annotative objects were developed. And so this chapter has a lot to do with the workshops I did there and a fairly detailed description of how to deal with them as well. Plotting is one of the things that so many people have difficulty with when they're dealing with AutoCAD. And so I have a whole chapter on plotting, making sure that people know how to manage model space, etc., and really making a case for the advantages of using paper space, but also that some things belong in paper space, some things belong in model space. I will say that there are people who differ from my recommendations, which is obviously fine, but I make an argument for why, for instance, I think always dimensions should be in model space and not in paper space, and also some information about plotting. I have a chapter on scripts because scripts are one of the most underutilized and yet easily accessible programming tools that you can use in AutoCAD. And I have a system coming up here that's in one of the other chapters, and that system coming up is a system for updating drawings automatically using either AutoCAD itself or the AutoCAD Core Console. And I have some videos on my YouTube channel for dealing with both of those things. And the Core Console is so quick. But it is possible, and I've done some very involved programs or collections of programs for people over the years for them to update as many drawings as they need to. And I have one really extensive video on my YouTube channel showing one of the applications for that involved, I think, if I recall, 9 AutoLISP program commands for modifying a particular drawing, and also that includes things like adding hyperlinks and then creating PDF files and a number of other things for the water district in Portland. And then we have 2 chapters on AutoLISP. I think AutoLISP is the most accessible programming language you can possibly use in AutoCAD. And that programming language is something that is really worth doing because the way of automating, the process of automating is just so helpful I was doing something yesterday. I use AutoCAD when I teach navigation classes, and I was doing something yesterday with an nautical chart, and I wanted to duplicate something in a series of places, but I couldn't duplicate it by simply inserting a block, because in navigation, things get bigger and smaller the further you get from the center of the chart. So I just quickly wrote up a little program that would lay things out for me the way I wanted, so I could just pick a number of short lines and have that project done. One of them is called Getting Started. One of them is called Getting Better. These primarily are the same chapters that were in my original book, by the way. I made some changes and I added some things here as well. Then updating thousands of drawings. I've got specific examples of how to do that. And those examples start with the first one I ever did, which is somebody that had 4,000 drawings. They needed to open the drawings in AutoCAD, explode everything in the drawing, explode all the blocks. And that was at a time when you had to explode blocks down through the nesting process by doing it sequentially. You couldn't just explode all blocks and have it work. And they needed to do that because they had used a program to create a series of there was a packaging company, and so they were designing things like egg crates and cartoning, like packaging like that to go in cartons to soften the blow of whatever's been packaged there. And they were changing to a different CAD program, and it turned out that the profiles of most of their shapes was being incorrectly translated when they went from one software program to another. Oddly, they weren't using AutoCAD, but they discovered that if they opened their old files in AutoCAD and then exploded everything and then saved them, they would then be usable for all the other things that they did. So I've also written these processes for people who wanted to update the title block of all their drawings, so that they didn't, when they had a company change, they didn't get embarrassed by sending out an old drawing and it had the wrong company name on it, etc. So there's 3 examples here and some specifics on dealing with the core console, how to deal with updating drawings out down through an entire folder structure. And then the puzzlers are questions that I've been asked over the years. And then I've got solutions, and I'll show you what that looks like. Those I did add a number of new puzzlers, and I get rid of some others that are no longer puzzling because the concept, well, in some cases the commands were eliminated. So this one's kind of the most fun, where it goes down through, and this first one is probably something pretty obvious, but I got a call one time and said my preview in my dimension styles is no longer showing in the preview. I do whatever it is that I do, and it's not showing anything in the preview. And as a result, it was a simple one. Had a current layer that was turned off, and as a result of being turned off, wasn't displaying. But it's that kind of thing, when AutoCAD went with the floating toolbar, the floating command line, all of a sudden they had this way of dealing with absolute coordinates that was different from what it used to be, and that was very frustrating for users. So these are all that kind of thing. And there are a number of things in here that have really kind of puzzled people over the years. So I lay out the puzzles, and then at the end I have all the solutions. So that's it. There's a new book. If you're interested in it, it's not a cheap book. It's $80. It might be more than $80. It's $80 on Amazon. Let me see. Yeah, it's $80 on Amazon, but that's 19% off, so it's about $100. So it is a fairly expensive book. You can purchase the digital version or the digital version and the print version. It does have a print version. Print version looks like this. And one of the things that Ralph said was, hey, he got a little review in his Substack, in his blog that he does. In the emails he goes out, he said, hey, it's an actual print book. So you can get it either way. I think the print book is the easiest way to deal with it, but you can do it either way. You do have to buy the book in order to get to the video. So that's it for now. I have not done many videos lately because, like I said, I retired in January, and then I spent the entire first 6 months or first 5 months of the year making videos for the book. So I do plan to get back and start doing a few more videos. Some of them will be involving AutoCAD. Most of them probably will involve SolidWorks instead, including I'd like to do a couple of videos on the professional SolidWorks exam, specifically the second and third part of the exam, since there is no practice exam for that. So that's it, just promoting a book. So I hope everybody's doing well.